Hi guys, Allison here. Happy Fuse Glass Friday. Today I'm going to be showing you some tips and tricks that I use when I'm bending stringer. So this is more of a technique video, not going to be a full project today. But what prompted this idea is when I bought like 99% of my glass, I bought it in bulk from a studio that was switching from 96 to 90 to Bullseye. So I just bought out everything they had, which included probably like, I think like upwards of 10 tubes of clear stringer. I don't really use this, or I haven't really used this at all since I've bought it, you know, a year and a half, 2 years ago, whatever it's been now. So I figured I should probably try to make some stuff out of this eventually. So let's light the candle here. So I'm just using a regular tea light. I know some people have mentioned in my past videos that you can use sterno, you know, like the blue stuff that you use to keep food hot. I have all these tea lights. I don't use them for anything else, so I'm definitely going to use them up before I buy anything different. And so this is the stringer. I don't ever use a full length because I find it's not easy enough to manipulate. So I'm just going to go ahead and break this in half. I apologize for the sound. I think there's an airplane flying overhead. I don't know if that picked up on camera. Anyways, so first things first, I don't usually leave these edges blunt, so they come, you know, like this out of the tube with the edge and it's just straight. I usually don't like the look of that, so my favorite thing to do is heat the stringer up really well at one edge, grab it with the tweezers, and then just pull it apart. So now we have, so now we have a tapered edge instead of a blunt edge. I don't know, just a little detail that I usually like to do. So first what I'm going to show you is a spiral. So once I have my tapered edge, I'm going to put that back in the candle and just use my tweezers to sort of push that edge and get the spiral going. So now it's sort of like a little C shape. Once you have that C shape, you can grab it and then heat up the next little bit of the long tail end and just start wrapping it around. So put it in the candle, heat it up a little bit, start turning it. If you notice, I'm not leaving it in the candle this whole time. I find there is a balance that you need to sort of figure out when you're doing this between heating it up enough and then not heating it up too much. So if you just leave it in the candle and it gets really hot, the glass will just become too soft and then it just sort of wobbles around, becomes really hard to manipulate. And then on the other hand, if you don't heat the glass up enough, then when you're trying to bend it, it can sometimes, it'll just break. So you just need to sort of play with that and, you know, get the, I don't know if it's timing down or just get the feel for it for when you need to heat it up. And then, okay, that's good. I'm just gonna take it out for a second, cool it down a little bit so it doesn't get floppy, and then just keep going around. When I'm bending stringer, I typically try to make whatever I'm bending level so that when I go to use it in another project, it's a bit easier to attach to the project. I also do a lot of like flipping back and forth just to get a, you know, better position with the flame, or a better way to place to grab, to hold on to with the tweezers. Again, that's just sort of playing around and just lots and lots of practice of getting used to where you want to hold it and how you want it to move. So this is looking pretty good. Probably not the best one I've ever made, but that's fine. I think it's also because I'm talking as well, so I'm not 100% concentrated on what I'm doing here because I'm trying to think of my words and not sound like a complete idiot. So I did get a little bit of an uneven spacing on this one, but that's fine. So all of the black soot will just burn off in the kiln. I typically, as I'm working, I'll just, spray it with some Windex and clean it off just so it doesn't come off all on my fingers. But you don't have to do that. You can just throw it in the kiln and it'll disappear. And I think somebody told me that when you do use the sterno instead of a candle that you don't get that black soot. So that's something to consider too. Getting a little bit sort of squared off edges instead of a really, really round circle. I'm going to try to be cognizant of that. I really enjoy bending stringer. I find it pretty therapeutic, pretty meditative, just sort of watching the flame and moving the glass. All right, so we're nearing the end here. Oh no. See, that's what happened. It got a little bit too hot and then it like over melts the glass. I'm gonna try to fix it a little bit. I find that sort of once there's a kink in the stringer, it just, you can't really fix it 100%. Although you can try to make it look a little bit better. Okay, so like I said, we're coming up on the end. I'm gonna start running out of room to hold this glass and it's gonna start getting hot. So I think I'm just gonna end it here. So you could just stop and then, break it off here and then you'd have an open spiral. What I'm gonna be doing is just sort of closing it in on itself like that. So here we have a spiral as our first shape, and then next, get my drawing here. I thought I would try to do a treble clef. I just hand drew this. I probably should have printed it to get a perfect one, but that's okay. So sometimes I like to, if I'm going for a specific shape, I do like to have a either drawn or printed out version of what I'm going for, just because then I can bend a little bit, move it to my drawing to compare, bend a little bit, move it to my drawing to compare, and that just gives you a reference point. So again, I'm going to heat it up and pull it apart for the tapered edge. I think this one maybe looks a little bit better, and I'm thinking I'm going to start with this part. So we're starting it off excuse me, the same way that we started the spiral. And then, okay, so this is going to go like this. So I need to leave that much room before I start bending. Might make a little bit bigger one than my drawing. Tweezers makes it easier to not burn your fingers, but I do find that using my hands allows for more control over the shape that I'm trying to make. Okay, so now this is the tough part. So I know in the spiral I was saying how I try to make everything level. This actually crosses a couple times, so it can't be level just because the stringer is going to be crossing over itself. I mean, I do still try to make it, you know, as level as possible. And then this is a gentler curve. I have to switch back to my tweezers here. So I need to bend this back toward the straight part. Alright, looking pretty good. Trying not to immediately grab the still hot section. Got a little too soft there, so I'm just gonna let it cool down. Okay, so now all I need to do is finish making that spiral, and then we're pretty much there. So it does get a little bit complicated just when you have pieces crossing over each other, and I'm trying to bend this piece, but then also not allowing this piece to get hot because I don't want that to move. So again, that just comes with you know, practice and lots of trial and lots of error. Oops. This part is going to be really tricky. Again, because I'm just trying to heat up this one and not this one. So gotta move fast and be careful. Could have probably stopped there, but I'm just gonna try to make it a little bit more of a curly Q. Oh, I'm just gonna push a little bit more, make it a little bit more. Oh, okay. So that's what you don't want to have happen. I mean, where it broke, that's fine. I still have a bit of a tail to hold on to, but I think this is going to be my last bend because now I'm really pushing my luck. Okay, so there we go. So I'm gonna let that cool down a little bit. So my spiral is cool enough so I can always go back in and just, you know, trim off that excess. This can sometimes be the part where your project breaks as well. You know, the stringers are just super fragile. So that's something to keep. Hi guys, sorry for the video cutting out like that. The memory card on my camera was full and I didn't realize right away. So unfortunately you didn't get to see me just trim the tail on the treble clef. It was a little bit nerve-wracking. I was scared I was gonna break it, but we did get there. So I have a treble clef. This is the spiral that I just made. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a little bit. In the next couple weeks, I'll definitely be making a video using all these spirals. Let me show you some more of the ones I've made. So I wonder if you can guess what I'll be using these for based on what they look like. Oops, dog hair. So I made quite a few of them, some better than others. What I also started doing is intentionally sort of waving the edges on a couple of these just to see what that would look like. Another one here, so that's something you can experiment with as well. So I hope you guys like this video, and if you did, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I do put out a new video every Friday, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!